Hello there, Catboy again. Just need to fix up a few things here. I'm sorry that you're going to see all these HUDs and everything. This is still a work in progress for me to understand how to use all of these things. So in the future, as I'm going to learn more, I promise my videos are going to be much more clean, much more professionally edited, much better cut, for time and for looking a lot more professional because there's all this junk all over the screen. I just don't know how to get rid of it yet, but I will find out. There is a producer named Geomeek that I work with in the comedy club. I'm going to be asking him for help on how to do all this, and on top of that, just maybe add a few pictures and a few video effects to try to make this look better. So as time goes, these will improve, I promise. Right now, I just wanted to talk about something. As I said, I have a blog that I was going to get some opinions across, and there's going to be a bit of a backlog of a lot of things that I had opinions on because it's been building up over a while. A lot of it's going to be lifted and modified from my blog that I had on DeviantArt. There was just a few things I wanted to add to it. There's a lot of things there that I wanted to get into. Maybe I could go into a little better detail here with a few better graphics or something. And, and just other things I've had lying around, like when I was working on my comedy and I, was doing some research on topic events, and there were a lot of things that I just never really got a chance. So there's a backup of, oh, hold on, speaking of backing up, maybe I should back up the camera a wee bit. Yeah, this particular AO, what AO stands for Animation Overrider for people who are Second Life impaired. Um, the AO is causing my avatar to wander a little too much, getting out of frame. All right, what I want to go into this time is something I've noticed recently. Twitter, in the early part of July, mid to early July, turned into a giant head pissing contest with a lot of men really aggressively, hatefully ripping on gamer girls. There's a lot of girls, suicide girls, girls that are into video games, girls that comment on video games, and there was just one little thing that sort of popped up, and it started this giant flame war that just went all over the place. It spread to a comedian that was making really terrible, awful jokes about, oh, aren't rape jokes funny? Look, as a stand-up comedian, I will not go there. And on top of that, I don't even remember this guy's name. Bit of a douchebag, not that funny. He has his own TV show where they make fun of internet stuff. What was that called? Maybe I'll remember his name if I can remember the show. Something 2.0. Anyway, he's f***ing with the audience, is what he's doing. He's f***ing with the audience. And if you're going to f*** with the audience, you got to have something in your repertoire. You're going to expect to have a reply. And that didn't happen. He started saying, oh, rape jokes are so goddamn funny. And then when people started ripping on him, uh, he had nothing. He didn't have a reply. And I thought, oh, that's just so damn lame. Hold on. I got some stuff interfering with what I got on the thing here. I'm going to try and make it go away. Honestly, I wish there was a way to make IMs off on Second Life. But, the only thing you could do is just make a very small communication table and just shove it off in a corner. Anyway, back to the point about this guy making jokes about rape jokes. Is if you're going to fuck with the audience, you really should have something. Oh, god damn it. This is still happening? I made the tiny window. Off. Okay, I forgot to put it in local chat. Alright. Back to what I was talking about. Okay, I once saw a black comedian a long time ago, back in the 90s, back when the Comedy Channel was brand new. And he got up on stage at the Apollo. And he said, aren't East Coast rappers the nastiest bunch of faggots you've ever seen in your life? Now, when he said that, he wasn't actually ripping on East Coast rappers, and he was not ripping on gays, by the way. What he was doing was he was informing the audience, I'm a black comedian. I do this for a living. I have been shot at on stage and on my way home from work. I have game. I just want to see if anyone in the audience here has got any game, because I'm here to inform you how misinformed you are on the game that you think you have. Because I will roll completely original yo mama jokes off of my tongue as easy as if I was breathing. That's what they're doing. So if you're going to with the audience, have game. And that Drew or whatever the hell that guy's name was, that guy from the 2.0 show, he didn't have any game. Him. Anyway, getting back to this whole thing about this head pissing contest going on with women. A lot of this is really frustrating for me, and I'm going to tell you why. I draw a lot of political cartoons. I have some really controversial political opinions. I have been doing this for the longest time. I have been pissing off people since the 90s. And lately, it's been practically impossible to get any kind of response whatsoever out of people. I have not had a genuine death threat since 2006. Now, I have participated in both, all except for this year, of the cartoon The Prophet Muhammad days. I have done pro-abortion art. I have done art on ripping on the Iraq War. I've ripped on religion. I've given opinions on gun control. Nothing. I received one piece of hate mail this year, and you know what it was for? It was because I commented on Chick-fil-A, and it barely even qualifies as hate mail. I mean, it was an instant message. It came over Twitter. The guy doesn't like me. That's it. That's all I get. And what makes me angry is I've been working so hard on making political statements, and then these girls come along, these gamer girls, and they make the most completely innocuous, harmless comments on how women are being portrayed in video games, and there's a f***ing army of assholes exploding out of the woodwork to cram a river of vitriolic shit down their throats in response. I mean, every single time a gamer girl makes any comment like that, they gotta say, oh, I just created a brand new folder just to make room for all the death threats. That's just not fair. I don't get any of that attention. You know? So anyway, getting back to this whole thing about guys ripping on women of Fandom is what brought this on. Well, women are questioning sexism in video games, and insecure little boys are feeling really threatened by this. Like, women are on some kind of crusade to ban everything that young males enjoy in video games, which is a lot of horror. All right. What a lot of guys just don't get about this is they're just too damn immature to see what it's really about. Let me give you an example of the bigger picture and a typical knee-jerk reaction to it. Now, back in the 1990s, I was dating a woman from Ryerson College, and she was studying business and finance. And the one thing that she noticed that was missing from the role of a financial advisory role was giving financial advice geared specifically towards women. Now, some people said that that's a lot of horse that women don't need special advice. Well, okay, men among different men have different financial commitments depending on their income and their lifestyles. Now, if you can justify that that's true between men and other men, then it's obviously true between men and women. So, my girlfriend announced that she was going to give a financial seminar at Ryerson College geared towards women. And this started a shitstorm. Because some asshole who was at Ryerson's radio college and college newspaper ripped on the seminar, and he called it a feminist rally, and he made all these assumptions that it was some sort of man-bashing convention. He didn't even read the seminar's promotional material. He even said so in his printed article. Said didn't read it, didn't need to. He just made an assumption that anything made for women is automatically man excluded and therefore a threat to men. Well, I will say that a man could have benefited from my girlfriend's seminar if he happened to be a cross-dresser and spent a lot of cash on women's clothes, underwear, makeup, hair removal, and if he was only paid 70% of what his other male peers were paid to do the same job. Now, after that article was printed, my girlfriend got a death threat posted on the event board right on top of her seminar poster. And she got surprisingly very little support from the faculty. They had this attitude that if you're going to go out of your way to promote something so provoking, that you get what you ask for. So out of curiosity, she phoned a lot of women's clubs around the city. She phoned women's gyms, healthcare centers, women's shelters, associations to ask if any of them received death threats and how do they deal with it. The answer was all of them receive death threats on a regular basis. Think of the local gym you have in your neighborhood, like Curves, and ask them very politely, do you get any death threats? No matter where you live, the answer very likely will be yes. There are men out there who have a serious problem with women. That's a fact. So, my girlfriend went ahead with the seminar while I stood guard out front, and we were waiting for someone to show up and make trouble. And we did run into that asshole from the radio who also printed that article, and he said that he heard that she received the death threat, and he was very sorry that she received the death threat, but he did not go so far as to print a retraction. So wherever that guy is now, f*** you. Okay, now some of you may be asking, how does all of this translate to women questioning sexist stereotypes in video games? Well, I'll tell you how. Consumers and critics are asking legitimate questions as to how their gender is being portrayed in video games, and a bunch of immature little shits are being assholes about it. Let me give a little news to people actually afraid there's some sort of crusade to knock sexiness or sexual imagery or sexual stereotypes out of video games. That stuff is always going to be there if video game makers are still interested in making money off of their biggest audience, young adult males. When the hell's that going to go away? Never. Listen, I've been listening to people piss and moan and whine about how there's this one Puritan crusade or another to ban everything that we think is sexy ever since I've been collecting issues of heavy metal magazines since the 1980s. This stuff just doesn't go away. If I sit here and complain about sexual imagery of women, I'd be the world's biggest hypocrite, because you take a look at my art gallery and my cartoons, there's heaps of big-breasted, scantily clad, or flat-out naked babes scattered throughout the whole thing. I like sexy women. I like sexual imagery. I make no apologies about it, and no women have ever sent me messages criticizing me or making death threats over it. When I play Grand Theft Auto, I'm a bastard. I like to pick up a hooker, get in a car that's already got a bomb planted onto it, jump the car into a crowded intersection, and bail just before I detonate the bomb. And I pick up the hooker. The only reason why I pick her up is to pad the body count. I just, boom, blow it up. I love watching people run around the streets on fire after cars explode. To me, that's like watching a Wile E. Coyote cartoon, except I'm the one who's responsible for the catapult being pointed in the wrong direction and malfunctioning. And I don't feel threatened that this is going to go anywhere, all because people are complaining about stereotypes. However, I'm not the only person who consumes video games. There's a big market out there of consumers who are growing more and more involved in video games, and they are critiquing its content. Consumers have the right, or even the duty, to question the content of what they're being asked to consume. It's very democratic. An essential part of democracy is you're supposed to participate in it. And part of that participation is to vote and to question your elected leaders. As a consumer, your vote is what you buy, but you also critique. And that's what these women are doing. As a video game producer, you may want to pay attention to produce content geared towards a pretty large audience that may not feel they're being catered to. As a consumer of video games, someone who likes video games geared towards young men, take comfort from the fact that what you consume isn't going anywhere. I mean, seriously, do you think that they're going to come up with a politically correct version of Grand Theft Auto? They sailed past the moral event horizon just with the title. I mean, with the start of the game. You're a drug-dealing, car-stealing, pimping bastard. A politically correct version of that just doesn't work on any level. So it's not going to change. It's not going to go anywhere. You still get your games, but other people want to have games geared towards them. And that's all this argument means. You're not being threatened. You're not being oppressed. You're not being kicked around. At least not as much as you deserve to be.